Hello, I'm Daniela Elana. In episode 38 of Historical Paranormal, we'll explore the eerie legend of a haunted stretch of New Jersey road known as Shades of Death. Located smack in the middle of Warren County, the winding two-lane road of terror stretches for 7 miles alongside the spooky Ginny Jump State Forest. Legend has it that many years ago, a car of teenagers were driving down a country road in Hackettstown, New Jersey after the prom. The road was slippery that night. It curved sharply to the left and right, winding into the dark. The driver lost control, and the car crashed into a ditch, killing one of the passengers. To this day, on a dark and slippery night, you can still see the girl who died wandering that murderous curve wearing her prom dress. No one is quite sure how Shades of Death Road got its morbid moniker, but most stories agree the area was once known as the Shades, and after a series of fatal occurrences, the thoroughfare earned its more over-the-top reputation. However, the details of the scary stories vary. Some say that a number of murders took place along the road beneath the overhanging trees, from which the area got its original name. According to another account, the area was once a swampy morass and harbored countless mosquitoes, which led to a number of deaths due to malaria. Yet another says the original inhabitants of the area were a band of ruthless outlaws who died in the area they called the Shades of Death, and as they were pushed out of their territory, their final refuge was their lonely road that now bears the name of the home base. Other legends according to Weird New Jersey. Some focus on the road's southern half, where the adjoining forest, with its aged trees, provides much actual shade from the sun on even the brightest days. Highwaymen or other bandits would supposedly lay in wait for victims in the shadows, then often cut their throats after taking what they had, or they would engage in fights to the death among themselves over women. Or it is said the local populace would take revenge against these highwaymen by lynching them and leaving the bodies dangling from the low-hanging tree branches as a warning to others criminally inclined. In the 1920s and 30s, there were 3 brutal murders along the road. One was a robbery in which a man was hit over the head with a tire jack over some gold coins, a second in which a woman beheaded her husband and buried the head and the body on different sides of the street, and lastly in which a local resident, Bill Cummins, was shot and buried in a mud pile. It was never solved. The twists and turns of the road have led to suggestions that it had led to an inordinate number of fatal car accidents, as supposedly the reflective guardrails along the road indicate where that has happened. However, the road has earned its name well before the automobile use became common in the area. Bear Swamp nearby was known as either Cat Hollow or Cat Swamp because of the packs of vicious wildcats that lived there, who frequently lethally attacked travelers along the road. The final explanation points to the Pegas lowlands nearby Bear Swamp, used today for sod farming. In 1850s, malaria-carrying insects were discovered nestling in a cliff face along the road. They flourished in nearby wetlands of Bear Swamp, causing annual outbreaks of the disease. The high mortality rates due to the remoteness of the area from effective medical treatment cut a swath through so many families that a street once called merely Shades or Shades Road due to tree cover took on the name Shades of Death out of black humor. The problem was so widespread that in 1884, a state-sponsored project drained the swamps, ending the threat. New Jersey's knack for names has also extended to a particular pass on Shades of Death known as Haunted Hollow, where travelers have reported seeing ghostly figures wandering the lonely stretch of road at night, only to vanish when approached. Running parallel to Haunted Hollow is Ghost Lake, where drivers often report seeing ghostly human figures walk the still water surface, figures believed to be the spirits of Native Americans slain by early settlers and unceremoniously dumped into the lake. Fairy Hole, one of Shades of Death's most interesting legends, is backed up by the local historians attached to what has been dubbed the Fairy Hole, a small cave inside of a nearby rock face. After archaeologists surveyed the area in 1918, they stumbled across the cave and discovered pottery shards, arrowheads, and flints, evidence the Fairy Hole once held significant to local Lenape tribes. Since the cave is located so close to numerous Native American burial grounds, many of the archaeologists believe that it was once a sacred site. Today, it's not uncommon for brave cave explorers to report hearing whispers in the cave, murmurings that appear to be in Lenape's native tongue. Despite its legendary statue among ghost hunters, there have only been a few attempts at in-depth paranormal investigations along Shades of Death Road. One of the most publicized investigations was conducted by Jack Osborne as part of the aptly named reality show Haunted Highway. As usual, you should take paranormal television with a grain of salt, particularly ones starring celebrities, but the results were more than a little strange nonetheless. Lenape Lane is an unpaved, one-lane dead-end street about 3/4 of a mile in length running eastward of Shades, just north of I-80. It ends at a farmhouse for which it is little more than a driveway, but halfway down there is a space to park or turn around next to a wooden structure described as looking like an abandoned stable. Weird New Jersey writes that the visitors to the stable site at night have reported extremely local fogs surrounding it and seeing apparitions in it, or sometimes even in clear weather, and also claim the air is sometimes usually chilly and feeling general unease for no immediately apparent reason. An additional legend claims that the sometimes nocturnal visitors to the Lenape see an orb of white light appear near the end of the road, which chases vehicles back to the shades of death, and it turns red in the process, which those who see it will die. It may be due to an old tree near the end of Lenape that was never cut down when the road was built. As a result, the road forks right before the tree, and a big red reflector has been nailed to the tree to warn drivers. Another legend says if one circles around the tree and drives down the road again at midnight, a red light will shine and the driver will never survive. There are some legends concerning a Native American spirit guide who supposedly takes the shape of a deer and appears at various points along the road at night. If drivers see him and do not slow down sufficiently enough to avoid a collision, they will soon get into a serious accident with a deer. Another legend tells of a bridge where if drivers stop past midnight with the high beams and honk their horns 3 times, they will see the ghosts of 2 young children who were run over while playing in the road. This legend actually refers to a bridge over the Flat Brook on Old Mine Road, not far from Shades of Death. The bridge is no longer accessible by car as a newer large bridge has been built next to it. The original bridge can still be reached on foot. Weird New Jersey published a correspondence from 2 anonymous readers who said they found hundreds of Polaroid photographs, some of them showing the blurred images of a woman, possibly in distress, scattered in the woods just off the road during the 1990s. The magazine claims local police began an investigation, but the photos disappeared shortly afterward. Whether or not Shades of Death Road is actually haunted or not is its own mystery. The wide array of tales surrounding it are hard to ignore. Thank you for listening for episode 38 of Historical Paranormal. Stay tuned for next Sunday's episode. Until next time.